that Kamala's father, Donald J. Harris, was Irish. Can somebody pull up that picture of Vioris again? Now, this clipping is from June 9th, 1952.
No.
Look at this. It says, Oscar Harris weds Vioris Cambridge. Now, I want you to look at this photo, and it certainly looks like, and I know it's a shadow on the left-hand side, but I'm going, that looks like the picture. You can tell by that balding pattern of the person that Kamala has presented to us as her grandfather. And he looks mixed race to me, but that woman on the right looks white to me. Now, I know you're going, Candace, that's crazy. It's a black and white photo, but, you know, there's a certain way when you're photographing a black woman that she comes across, and that ain't it, my friends.
Hey, sur la route, moi je garde à foi. Je regarde juste en avant, j'ai la tête sur les épaules. Si je vois les étrangers, je les invite bien chez moi. Je leur parle un peu de Dieu, je leur dis gardez la foi.
Yeah, let's check this out, man. Shout out to Candace for this video. Make sure to like before you watch. You get what I'm saying? Comment below what you think about this, okay? Another episode of Kamala. You know, I gotta check it out.
Well, where should we begin? You guys have heard of whitewashing history, but have you heard of blackwashing?
No,
blackwashing is when you're a politician and it's election season and suddenly you have to relate to black people. So you just sort of start making stuff up to blackify yourself, your history.
That's lame.
You start dropping a bunch of slang
that
and colloquialisms and hoping that the people will therefore understand you. Honestly, it's become something of a democratic rite of passage.
I mean, I've always said this, man. Politicians, they always got to do whatever they got to do to win, right? Whatever it takes to win. I mean, they're really not winning. It's just a put on a show, okay? It's just a put on a show, and then all this is just a waste of time. It is a distraction. Everybody's distracted with this election garbage, even though we know for sure that your vote really doesn't matter. It doesn't, okay? People can argue this all they want. You just gotta wake up from the matrix. Get out of the matrix. Your vote does not matter. I mean, let's just pretend. Let's just pretend it does and keep going with it.
Except this time, I think we may have caught the culprit red-handed. Of course, I'm speaking about Kamala Harris. I think her and her campaign team are really going to regret the day that their media henchmen came for Janet Jackson.
Oh.
Welcome back to Candace.
They gotta do whatever they can do to win, man. They gotta do whatever. They do not care about you. All they care about is themselves. That's it. Nothing else. Comment below. Let's get this, man. Let's get it.
I'm literally buzzing with excitement right now for what we just discovered. Obviously, we are running a little bit late today, but as I said, it will be well worth the wait. So yesterday, we were getting closer and closer, asking questions, obviously, about Kamala's genealogy. If you need to go back, you can do that. Begin with episode 70 and work your way forward to see how this mystery has unfolded. So we were left with some major holes in Kamala's genealogy. We had from her father, Donald J. Harris, that he grew up in Jamaica and was raised by his grandmother, Miss Iris. He effectively wrote an entire piece about his Jamaican heritage and really focused on his grandmother, like she is the person that made the most difference for him. He honorably mentioned Miss Iris's husband, who he only referred to as Mr. Christie, and remained conspicuously silent about his own mother. How do you do that? How do you just say one sentence about your mother, refer to her as Miss Beryl? I want to be clear, you're writing this for the population, right? You're talking about your heritage. Even if you called your mother Miss Beryl, you would probably, for the sake of wanting people to be clear on who you're referring to, list her full name. He didn't do that. He just said one sentence. This is not to, ignore my mother, Miss Beryl. And that was it.
I mean, look, there are chances that there's some people that do not care about their moms because they went through some stuff with their moms and all that. You get what I'm saying? And some people do not forgive their parents for doing certain things. I get it. That could happen, but why mention her at all if you are not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like if you run into something with your mom, you do not care about your mom, you do not want to talk about your mom at all. In a case like this, why would you even mention her if you're really not going to talk about her? You get what I'm saying? If you really have a problem with her, you do not want to talk about her, you do not want to mention her, do not mention her at all. And if you do in a case like this, you want to put it out there, you want people to know who she is, right? Maybe if you called how he called her in this in whatever that text. Maybe you can talk about her maybe a couple times just to clarify, just to make actually so people that are watching can kind of really understand that, okay, maybe he doesn't care about his mom, but at least he mentioned her maybe a couple times, something like that.
And we know that her full name, according to her birth certificate, is Beryl Magdalene Finnegan. And we know that at various times she took on the middle name Christie. He also mentioned in that piece that his father was Mass Oscar. I guess, again, that is kind of a slang way of referring to his father. But I was completely stumped. I was completely stumped as I was looking further into this because I could not find a marriage record between his father, Oscar Joseph Harris, Miss Oscar, and his mother, Beryl Finnegan. Like, this is something that to me seemed really odd. And some people who wanted to rationalize it were saying, oh, no, that's just how things were. And sometimes people didn't have record. No, I wasn't buying any of that because we were dealing with a family that had money. It is just a fact that Kamala Harris's family descends from slavers. They were given money for their slaves. Somebody did the calculation essentially for that day and time. It would have been $11 million that they inherited for their slaves once it was abolished. It is why when he speaks about his Jamaican heritage, he speaks about them as having owned stores, right? So this is not your typical Black story that we're referring to here. And so I expected very much for there to be a record of marriage. Yeah. Oddly, as you guys will recall, any records that I did find suggested to me that Beryl may have been the domestic help, who may have also given birth to a son named Donald, born in 1938, who died before he even turned 2. So that was very strange. Question marks. We were like, okay, we're seeing this Beryl, we're seeing this Donald Harris, we're seeing that an infant died. What's really going on here? Why is it starting to feel like a scary movie? But of course, we want to rationalize it ourselves. Like, maybe it is just a coincidence that another Beryl had another Donald in 1938 in St. Aaron Parish, and we shouldn't look too far into that. What we knew for certain was that Beryl, the correct Beryl, was married at the age of 25. So Donald Harris, who was presenting as Kamala's father, would have been 6 years old. She got married to a man named Lawford Newland, who he has completely erased from his childhood historical account. When he wrote this piece, he did not mention a Lawford Newland, a stepdaddy named Lawford Newland. And that was odd because then it would suggest that she would have had to have married his father, Oscar Joseph Harris, after that. So have the kid, marry someone else, and then go back and marry your baby daddy. I don't know.
There's a lot of confusion in this story. And then where there's confusion, that means something's fishy, right? It is not clear. It really is not clear. So there's so much confusion, like so many things that need to be explained. So why can't Kamala just come out and just explain it? And just, if you really want to lie to people, you're going to have to get things together right. Especially when it comes to elections. Like I said, now it's time to come out and speak the truth. You don't want this. If it happens that she actually becomes president, this is going to explode. And I'm pretty sure she does not want that. So now is the best time to come and explain. Or you don't even have to explain, just put it out there. Just put the information where people can actually find it. Just make it easier for yourself, because this is going to be crazier.
But I needed to find some records. We also couldn't find a divorce record, by the way, between Lawford Newland and Beryl Finnegan. Where's the divorce record? We did see that he went to America. We searched there. He went through New Orleans. We went through California. We just could not find anything. And in my view, there were too many holes in his account, numbers that he got wrong about the siblings. I just felt that there was a secret here. So I decided that we needed more information specifically about Donald J. Harris himself. And we couldn't find a birth certificate for him.
That's him?
Which I flagged as odd. And I also wanted to find that marriage certificate between his father, Oscar J. Harris, and his mother, Beryl Finnegan. That was crucial to me. So here's what we stumbled upon. More information about Donald J. Harris appeared to us. This is going to get crazy, you guys. I'll tell you how we put this together. through old Jamaican newspaper clippings that had been digitized. So first and foremost, this one fact checks, but it was a little bit of tidbit of an information that I thought was interesting. It was a wedding announcement that was published in the Kingston Gleaner. That's the name of the newspaper. It was published, as you can see here, November 1st, 1963, which just announces the wedding of presumably Kamala's mother, as we're told, Shyamala Gopalin, to Donald J. Harris. It reads, he is the son of Oscar J. Harris of Spanish Town and Mrs. Beryl Finnegan. Okay. It writes before leaving, it says before leaving Jamaica in 19, and can you pull that up? Because I couldn't read it for clarity. But it says before leaving Jamaica in, it looks like maybe 19, I don't want to guess it. Mr. Harris worked for the Jamaican Information Service. Okay, what is the Jamaican Information Service? That's what I asked myself. What is that? I'll tell you what it is. The Jamaican Information Service is an executive agency of the government of Jamaica that is responsible for disseminating information. It used to be known as the Government Public Relations Office. It says that to achieve its objectives, the agency utilizes a broad range of media skill sets: print, radio, television, graphic arts, video projection, and public relations. It was established in 1956. Okay, so now we know that before he left Jamaica, he worked for the government. So he's got some connections in government. And he's not the only one, because that newspaper article goes on to inform us that his bride, who we're told is Kamala's mother, is the daughter of Mr. P.V. Gopalin, the Deputy Secretary of the Government of India. So she is also connected to the government of India. And
I mean, she looks Indian. I was about to say that at the beginning when they said Jamaican. I was looking at the picture like, wait a minute. But I was just waiting to see it. But she looks Indian, 100%. And that guy, he kind of looks a bit as if he was mixed. Doesn't he? He looks mixed with something, with a lighter color.
And her dad is the Deputy Secretary of the Government of India. That's just a thing that I think is important to know, that these two people worked for the government and they came together and they got married. Now, we still could not find a marriage record between these two, but it may be plausible that they got married somewhere else, but at least we see the announcement. So I thought, now let's focus on his father, right? I'm looking for something to attach Oscar to Beryl, presumably, if this is a family that is important enough to have wedding announcements in the newspaper. Maybe we will be able to stumble upon something between Oscar and Beryl. Now, I want to remind you that Kamala brought up Oscar J. Harris, her grandfather, in her book, and she reveals a picture of him on page 282. So I'm going to show you that right now.
I mean, this lady looks Indian. She does look in.
It reads, when I was 10 months old, I visited Spanish Town, Jamaica. This is me with my mother and my paternal grandfather, Oscar Joseph. So we know his name is Oscar Joseph Harris, and we know that that's what he looks like thanks to Kamala Harris's book. Great, love that. So I looked him up, and at first the father came up for a bankruptcy hearing announcement. This is dated, by the way, March 11th, 1939. So this would have been 1 year after Donald was allegedly born. It just reads, in the matter of bankruptcy petition against Reginald Victor Harris, Oscar Joseph Harris, and Newton Alexander Harris of Brownstown in the parish of St. Anne, trading as Harris Bros, take notice that the above named intend to apply for the revocation of the provisional order of bankruptcy made against them in this honorable court on the 6th day of January 1939. Okay, so we know that they were apparently going through some bankruptcy proceedings, and they were fighting those bankruptcy proceedings. They were going to stand against them. And also, what's relevant there is that we know it's him because it lists his brothers. It lists that they're from Browntown, and we have fact-checked that genealogy. So this is the correct family. This is the grandfather that Kamala is referring to in her book. Here is where it is going to get crazy.
Let's
Buckle
go.
up. I really hope you guys are sitting for this.
Let's go. I want to
He
see.
came up again. And fortunately, it was for a wedding. Unfortunately, it was not for a wedding to Beryl.
What's this?
Instead, just like Beryl married somebody else, apparently he married somebody else. Now, this clipping is from June 9th, 1952.
No.
Look at this. It says, Oscar Harris weds Vioris Cambridge. Now I want you to look at this photo. And it certainly looks like, and I know it's a shadow on the left-hand side, but I'm going, that looks like the picture. You can tell by that balding pattern of the person that Kamala has presented to us as her grandfather. And he looks mixed race to me, but that woman on the right looks white to me. Now, I know you're going, Candace, that's crazy. It's a black and white photo, but there's a certain way when you're photographing a black woman that she comes across, and that ain't it, my friends. But again, that was a theory. Let's read the article. It reads, Vioris Cambridge, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. V.S. Cambridge of St. Elizabeth, that's another parish in Jamaica, became the bride of Oscar Harris of Browntown, St. Anne, at a beautiful ceremony in the St. Andrew Parish Church, Halfway Tree, on Thursday last night. Her slenderness enhanced by a gown of white nylon and chantilly lace. The bride, carrying a bouquet of white asters, was given in marriage by her father. Her only attendant, her sister, Carmen Cambridge, wore a gown of aqua nylon and chantilly lace with a bouquet of pink rosebuds. The best man in the ceremony, performed by the Reverend Grant Levi of Montego Bay, was Mr. Newton Harris, brother of the groom. During the signing of the register, Mr. Gene McDonald sang, "I'll walk beside you," and "Because," at a reception held at the home of the bride's uncle on Chester Avenue, Mr. Milton Hamilton was master of ceremonies. I just went, what the heck is this? First and foremost, how odd that's Donald J. Harris, as he's recollecting these memories from his childhood, now has left out the part where Beryl married someone when he would have been 6 years old and would have been his stepfather. But he's also now leaving out the fact that his mother similarly married someone when he was a little bit older. I mean, that his father similarly married someone when he was a little bit older. And that woman, at least according to my eyes, appears to me to be fully Caucasian. But I said, that sounds crazy. Let me see if I can find this woman, Vioris Cambridge, by a quick Google search. That's quite a different name, Vioris. I've never heard it before. Certainly something's going to pop up.
There's no way
and
you found something.
Just one thing did.
No way.
And it was a funeral entry of a white woman who died in Broward County. And what I noticed about this entry was that it was very scant on details. I'm going to show this to you. Okay. Vioris Anita McPherson, it says. And I'm looking at that face on the left there and I'm going, I recognize that face.
No.
This woman looks familiar to me. Am I crazy? Are you guys seeing? She looks a little bit like Kamala Harris. There's something about the smirk. I don't know. Am I crazy? So I said, let me not jump to conclusions. Maybe I am just so down by the rabbit hole that I'm seeing Kamala's face. So I read this entry and it says, it is with great sadness that the family of Vioris Anita Harris McPherson Cambridge, in parentheses, so we know that that's her maiden name right there, announces her passing on Saturday, June 15th, 2019. She will be lovingly remembered by her children and spouses, her grandchildren and spouses, her great-grandchildren, cousins, nieces, nephews, and friends. We will celebrate her life on Saturday, June 29th, 2019 at 10 o'clock a.m. at Christ the Rock Community Church. It gives the address there. And it says where they will immediately follow at a reception hall. In lieu of flowers, donations may be made to the Alzheimer's Foundation in memory of Vioris Harris McPherson. So nothing given to us there, literally nothing given to us about our family. Have you ever seen that? No. Usually survived by a sister, a cousin, a brother. I went to see if anybody posted anything. It says she has a really big family. I was like, okay, well, certainly somebody would have posted on the board. People do that all the time. I'm so sorry for your loss. Love you. Yeah. Cousin, I'll see you there.
Yeah.
Hug, kisses, nothing. Very weird. And then tried to look this woman up in Broward County records, and it just looks like people are trying to protect who she was. It doesn't tell me who she's married. I don't see anything there in Broward County. It just says an entry for a marriage that took place in 1994. And I also see that she's got another name there, McPherson. So maybe she got remarried. But it at least tells us that her birthday was October 7th, 1927. So I thought to myself, can I find a woman, a white woman who was born in Jamaica, with that exact birth date, with that exact name. It's, like I said, a very different name, Vioris.
You found something?
And the answer is yes, we did. We were able to locate her birth certificate. And
dude, this right here is like it's like a movie. When you listen to this, do you have like visions in your head, and it's like you are watching everything. This is deep though.
now we know why it said that she was married to V.S. Cambridge and had listed her father as V.S. Cambridge, Mr. and Mrs. V.S. Cambridge. That's because her father's name is Vivian. Her mother's name is Adina Wright. And here you have it, born in Elizabeth. St. Elizabeth is, here she is. This is this woman, Vioris Cambridge, born to Vivian Cambridge and Adina Wright on October 7th, 1927 in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. What the hell is going on? Who is this woman? Why hasn't this been mentioned? Why does it feel like this profile was being very hidden? And again, as Donald was jumping in to his family background and speaking about how Jamaican it was, why didn't he mention this? Why didn't he mention this woman, his white relatives? It might be relevant when we're having a discussion about Kamala's race to mention the fact that your dad married a white woman. I'm just saying, here's another picture of her. And there's something familiar about her smile. There's something familiar. I'm looking at this woman, I'm going, this woman looks to me like Kamala Harris. Now, something even weirder, the person
Put both pictures together next to each other. I want to see this.
who did create something for her online, okay, who created a profile for her on Ancestry.com.
It's who?
Look what he put in the middle of her name. He lists her name as Vioris Anita Iris Cambridge. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So we looked into this briefly. And again, all of this has transpired within the last 4 hours. So we are not as organized about this, or I shouldn't say, we are not as certain about this, but it looks like the person who made this entry was a member of her extended family. It looks like she got remarried in 1994 in America and that's where she picks up the name McPherson. And that individual put Iris in quotation marks. Is it possible that Donald J. Harris, when he's fondly remembering Miss Iris, could be speaking about this woman? Yeah, it's possible. Everything's a possibility. Like I said, he's very scant on the details here. What we do know is that he declined to mention this woman. He declined to mention someone that his father married who was completely white. And as I said, I wouldn't have an issue with this if people were forthcoming and spoke about this. The press, as you're out there referring to Janet Jackson as crazy, right, for suggesting, what did Janet Jackson say? She said that she heard that Kamala's father, Donald J. Harris, was Irish. Can somebody pull up that picture of Vioris again? She heard that his family was Irish. I think Vioris, maybe Vioris Cambridge, might be Irish. Was she so crazy to mention that, press? Would it be so crazy if you guys did your actual job and looked into these things as opposed to constantly trying to obscure things to protect your preferred candidates because you believe she should just be handed this? Now the question is it possible that the woman that we're looking at right there is Kamala's grandmother? Is it possible, based on the records that we have, that Beryl and Donald never did marry? Is it possible Beryl and Oscar, never did marry? Is it possible, is it feasible that marriage never took place and they both married two different people, and that instead at some point when they decided to blackify Kamala's history, they included this Beryl?
What I don't understand is why are they making Kamala so black? Why are they forcing this? I do not just for the vote. I do not think so, man. There's always something behind it. When you see these people doing all these things, you gotta look further than what you're actually looking at. There's always got to be something behind with these people. Why is it so important for people that Kamala should be black or brown or whatever that color is? Why is it so important? I just want to understand it. It's not just to gain the votes from the brown community. It's not just that.
As her grandmother, is it possible? I don't want to go too far down conspiracy lane, but I'm telling you that we're close here. This is a big missing piece of her family history that should have been mentioned, okay? And I find it highly suspicious. I do not think that we have answers still on who Donald Harris is. I do not trust him. I do not trust him. Just having discovered this information and realizing that he left out 2 significant marriages and is instead focusing on Kamala's great-grandmother, referring to her as Miss Iris. Who is Miss Iris actually? I can tell you that, again, we came across all of this in the last few hours, but we're going to stay on them, because now that we have found this piece and we have found this white woman, and again, I'm not trying to call her out being white, but I'm just saying that, like, she is a white woman. She's very white. And Janet Jackson was not crazy to suggest this. And now we know that somebody is putting her in quotation marks as Iris, and a picture is starting to come together. Let me say this. If, and I'm not saying this is true. Okay. But if we find out that that woman is Kamala's real grandmother, I mean, can we get a side-by-side of Kamala?
Yeah,
if we find out that that is Kamala's real grandmother, and that she decided to appropriate the domestic help who potentially died younger as her grandmother, we are watching one of the most diabolical political moves that we have ever seen in the history of this country.
That's exactly what I've been saying. This is like, we do not only have this going, but we also have the P Diddy situation going. So this, I'm just simply saying, why is it that there's too much confusion in this Kamala situation thing? Fighting so hard to be black. Why? Why can't you just embrace what you are? I don't care if you are Indian or white or whatever color. I'm just trying to understand why so much mystery in this thing. Why hiding who you really are if you are not what you say you are? It is not even making any sense. If you are yellow, just say you are yellow. It's okay. I mean, to me, it's okay. If you do not accept yourself, why would you want other people to accept who you are? You gotta start by accepting who you are and putting yourself out there as who you really are. You know, one of the scandals to be avoided when you want to become president is to just put all the cards out there, because, you know, put all the things, not just president. If you want to become something or whatever, public figure, things like this, you have to not trying to hide things, not lie about things that people will figure it out. Like this, if she's lying about these things, people are going to find out one way or another. It's going to come out. It's going to come out sooner or later. That's it. Like I say, you do not want this to come out when you are president. You want this to come out now. Maybe you can fight it now, but once you are president, I mean, maybe if it comes out now, it's going to damage everything. Maybe. What do I know? But when she becomes president, I think it's even going to be a bigger scandal if she doesn't get it done now. You get what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure she watches this video that Candace is making. She watching the videos that everybody making about her. So do not stay silent about this. Just get it over with. What do you guys think, man? Make sure to go to Candace and watch this video. I already watch enough. Candace's videos are always so long. It's a movie at this point. Okay? She's investigating, dude. She's going deep. And she has a whole team around the world working on this project. This is crazy. She's going deeper and deeper and deeper. Every time you watch a video that she made about Kamala is always deeper than the last one that she made. Let's see what's gonna come out next. Candace, shout out to you for this video, man. You still got a cross behind you. Make sure to get rid of that cross. But yeah, make sure to go to Candace and watch the rest of the video. Shout out to her for this. Shout out to her. If you haven't watched the other videos that she made, make sure to go back on her channel and watch those videos that she made about Kamala. Very, very interesting. Yeah, man. Comment below and make sure to get yourself the scriptures. Get yourself the scriptures and read. Do not stop reading. Pray without ceasing. Okay? Do not let anybody tell you to stay away from the word of our Heavenly Father, because that's everything. That's what's going to help you. That's what's going to get you out of the matrix. Make sure to click the link at the top of the comments and go check out my music on my YouTube channel. I'm going to catch you guys next time, man. Yes, sir.
In the beginning, in the beginning, yeah, in the
Listen properly.
in the beginning, yeah, in the beginning, in the beginning, in the beginning,